sometimes I may feel like I'm in the back burner,
Right.
but it's not really that. It's we're evolving as humans, which is what you're supposed to do.
Right.
So yeah, you're marrying the unknown, and you know, again, like, how do men deal with that? How do women deal with that? So
Right.
it's never a thing where it's just one script, one blueprint. You're
Right.
continuously trying to figure things out, communication, and I want to have real conversations about how people deal with these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we back in the building, Inside the Mind. I'm your host, John Reese, and we got Classic Physique in the building. Well, crossover anyway. He's Classic Physique now. And he's been competing for 9 years, did 5 or 6 national shows before he turned pro in 2017 at the NPC Universe. He's competed in men's physique. He did 7 pro shows in men's physique, and then he crossed over to classic, making his highest placing at the Atlanta Pro Show, which is it was the inaugural Atlanta Pro Show, right?
Yeah, it was.
Right.
Yeah, if I'm correct, yeah, it was actually.
All right, bet. My man played 6 at that joint, man. My guy Adam Thomas in the building. How you doing, brother?
Appreciate you having me on here, man. I'm pretty good, man. Just actually finished working out and getting a quick pump in, so I gotta have some endorphins for this good conversation today.
Yeah, my guy, I appreciate you, bro. So yeah, like I was telling you before we got on, man, this is strictly about what we feel and think as bodybuilders, man, bringing attention and light to the mental health side, and not talking about the typical what do you eat and what do you do and all that stuff. I don't want to get into none of that stuff, man. So first and foremost, mentally, I see you have you competed this year?
No, I haven't competed this year. Took the whole year off actually to just coach my team and develop myself to go ahead and just make a splash for 2024. So, just more strategic, added some pounds, added some weight. I mean, quick stats. I was like at the end of last prep or when my last show was Dallas Pro, and then I did Atlanta Pro first, then Dallas Pro as of the classic debut. And kind of reverse diet, got into about 196. Right now I'm at 212. So, you know what I mean? I've added some good size, added some good muscle. So the goal is to get up to 220, but we're going to try to get as close as we can and then go ahead and lock it in and get ready for our next prep, man. Ready for the next pro show.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, I took the year off too, man. Just for a multitude of reasons, to give back time to the family, and
For sure.
you know, my pro debut didn't go as I planned, so I figured I needed to make massive improvements, but also to like mentally check in with myself as well. You know, I'm always rushing to get to the stage, rushing to do this, and I felt like that wasn't conducive to my mental health. So how are you dealing with taking the year off, knowing like you was running the gauntlet before that?
Yeah, definitely. It's a culture shock, man. Because like when you're doing men's physique, you're just competing back to back to back. Because that's just the culture of men's physique. You gotta compete multiple shows in order to get your name out there. Because there's a lot of guys. There's an obtainable look, So the one who shows up the most and the best and consistent on that look consistently, it becomes a better scenario for you. You know what I mean? To actually develop. To place high. And for me, going into classic, I was like, all right, I know I have to be more strategic. I can't just go into multiple shows because I'm gonna start wasting away muscle and taking time off for a year. Really a year and a half almost has been a challenge. You kind of have to just like train with your hoodie on type scenario. I don't have my hoodie on all the time when I'm training. I'm in a good mood when I go into the gym. Because I'm one of those guys, dog, when you go right through that door, everything doesn't matter. No matter what bullshit you're going through, lock in, get it done, have a good workout. And, but however, just having my mindset, staying focused on the bigger date in 2024 has been a challenge here and there, but it's also humbling because it's like, all right, I know I'm in this position for a reason and I got to get it done, so I can't, woe is me, you know what I mean? Because everybody's been there. Everybody's been in the position I am right now, and that's what makes a champion.
That's what's up, man. That's a good mindset to have, man. It took me probably up until I want to say a couple months ago, because I was still like in this, should I do it? Should I not? Should I go jump in? And like it's so hard for me not to scratch that itch, but the more time I invested into myself, into taking this time off and working on me, it became much more easier. And like I said, man, everyone's elevating and it just is what it is, man. I'll be ready. And I've also contemplated on taking next year off too, or going up later next year, just
I mean, it
because
doesn't hurt, bro. Doesn't
nah,
hurt.
it really doesn't. So I feel like I'm coming into this like this mental clarity of just like, all right, until like I feel like I've made the massive improvements that I feel like I need and what the judges told me,
Yeah.
I can continue to do what I do every day, which is train and create the differences that I need to make. So yeah, it don't hurt at all, man.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel you on that part, and especially when you say just like having that time to get back with your family and stuff like that. That's one thing I'm happy why I took the time off because I had more opportunity to like be on point with my clients and be on point. And I'll be honest with you, even when I'm in prep, the frequency and the intensity and the attention to detail is still there, even when I'm in prep for my clients. But it's just more. It's just more passion and more love and care towards the scenario, and then also to my family, just being there for whatever they have going on in their lives. So it's really good opportunity to kind of just see everybody else's growth rather than it just being about me sometimes, because when you're locked in prep and you're ready for shows, you got to be about yourself, you got to be selfish, and that's the culture of this sport.
Man, that's real, man. That selfish part is tough. Like, how do you deal with that? Naturally, I'm not a selfish person at all. So it's hard
Same.
for me to dive into like, hey, I gotta go do this. I can't be too focused on other things. Like, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, bro. I mean, like, I have a big heart naturally. You know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of hard outside, but once like somebody's really cool with me, or just like when I learn somebody, I know somebody, I really care about that person. And so for
Mhm.
me, when I'm over here just learning a person, or just developing with somebody, it becomes a scenario where it's like, bro, I got to be okay with locking in with myself, and I have to be okay with putting myself first, because these other people, yes, they matter to me, but they just got to be on the back burner. It's not like they're off, they're just on standby, you know what I mean? And I just have to deal with them, be there for them. But when it comes to scenarios and priority, I'm number one. And if you want to win, if you want to become the best at what you want to become, you have to take that sacrifice. That's what the sport is. That's what anything requires when it
Yeah,
comes to just being good at being something and being good at something that you want to be at in life. You have to sacrifice, you have to focus, you have to be willing to lose friends, lose other opportunities. It all comes down to what is the big goal and what's the big picture, and having a strategy behind that. Because I will say a lot of people who just compete and they just compete like just going for it, and not having really a strategy behind it, and just saying, hey, I have this accolade, all right, what are you going to do with it? Like
right.
when some people get a pro card, they don't know what they're going to do next. Is the risk benefiting the reward, or the reward benefiting risk in a sense? But however, does it make sense to what you're trying to do? So does it add up? And that's where it comes down for me, is like I've always had a strategy for everything that I had going on, and if I need to take a sacrifice, I know what I have coming up next. And the people who are still there, the people who are still in my circle, cool. You still rocking with me. We moving on to the next level together. But that's a part of life. That's a part of growth. You gotta sacrifice. Gotta be willing to lose some to gain a lot.
Man, for real. Again,
For
the
real.
year off is where I came into that. I struggle with that, bro. Even though I was on this like relentless chase to get, my pro card, like it was hard for me to, especially because my daughter was born like the first year I started competing. So it was hard for me to like want to
Mm,
leave the house to go do training or
for
want
sure.
to it like, my wife being a first time mother, like I felt like I was leaving her behind in a sense. So like going into my second year of competing, when I finally no, I got my pro card my third year. So my second year, I
Nice.
became even more addicted to the process, and I felt like the more I became addicted to it, I was kind of like leaving them behind. But me and her had like a real talk. Like, look, she was like, I understand it, but you got to find some type of balance to give back. So you can't be just doing this all year. And that's when it kind of clicked. Like, all right, so this year has been
Yeah.
crucial. You know what? I'm not even going to worry about the stage. Like, I may get the itch, but this is just, it's family time. I'm still going to be able to train. I'm still going to be able to do what I need to do. Yeah, the sacrifice is hard, but I'm prepared for it next year though.
You
Let's
got
see.
to, you know what I mean? I mean, it's one step at a time. Like what I say to a lot of my clients that compete, you know, when you're mentally there, go for it. You know what I mean? When all the, it kind of has to be that scenario when all the stars align. If all the stars align, then yeah, go for it. You know, if you have that itch and then you're financially ready, you're mentally ready, your household is ready, then hell yeah, go for that shit. But you know, if you're just going off of just the strength of motivation and just ambition towards somebody else you saw or whatever scenario, you know, there's so many scenarios that can make somebody just impulsively compete, you know. And if you have everything aligned, then yeah, go for it. But if it doesn't make sense, it's something along the line. Something always happens in prep. Some bullshit always takes place
Facts.
in prep. It's like it's given. It's never,
Man.
nobody's had a perfect prep as of emotions. It's always something, you know what I mean? So you got to be prepared for that, and that comes with the sport, man. It's part of the culture.
Man, for real though. So, what actually got you started into bodybuilding?
One of my exes got me into bodybuilding, and
Word.
that was something, yeah, because I once I was the door closed on me. So I used to play professional football in the AFL a little bit, and that
Oh,
door closed
dope.
on me. I was supposed to play in Canada and play in the Canadian Football League.
Mm,
Had private trials, had everything going my way. Moved up, so I was born up here in the DC area, but raised in Jacksonville, Florida. Played ball in North Carolina. Moved back up to the DC area because my agent was up here and had connections for me. And then my training, more of my performance trainer, was up here when I was like 21. And
okay.
so, and I'm 32 now. But once that kind of like, you know, scenario kind of slowed down for me, because it's hard to get in the league. It's hard to it's not even about just athleticism entirely. It's sometimes about connections. You know what I mean? Just being at the
Yeah.
right place at the right time. And you know, I was one of those guys that were just naturally fast. I ran a 4.4 in high school, and you know, ran
Sheesh.
the junior Olympics. Played track or ran track in college and played football. So it was like I was always a fast guy, but you know, it just wasn't for me. The door closed for me, and that's when my ex was like, "Oh, like you should get into, you know, competing so you can have something competitive to do." Because I went to school for exercise science, so I was always dealing with people in sports and athleticism,
Right.
and I just always had the competitive edge. And I wanted to do something with my time, want something with my genetics, you know, and didn't want to waste that away. And also the knowledge that I have from my degree. So it's just that pushed me into competing, and then I started to find a love for the sport and just how it's always evolving. A lot of case studies and things that are like doctors are even learning from bodybuilding as when it comes to
Right.
cycles and medications. So like we're like the trenches of the scientific aspect of health and fitness. So you know what I mean. For me, you know, I like to be. I'm now a scientist. In other words, I'm now a scientist in a fitness standpoint, and I like doing it. I like, you know, figuring out things, dealing with different people, trying different things with different people, and you know, I saw like, all right, if I can put myself through that, I know I can relay that information to others. But
Yeah.
however, though, you know, what I mean, I'm using my knowledge to develop people in their different routes and scenarios. So definitely, you know, just watching other people develop and watching the stardom that people built off of the sport and how it just changed their lives and careers if they came from nothing or came from sports or military or whatever the case may be. You know, it definitely like created a different level of just career and stardom for them. So I was like, all right, I want to be in that lifestyle, and I took off and just took it from there, and I've been enjoying it ever since.
That's dope, man. Yeah, like I'm starting to notice the more and more I do like these episodes, like how so many people come from different walks of life,
Mm-hmm.
and like the military background is real prominent in, you know, our sport.
Which is
So
crazy.
like yeah, it really is, man. And then you already have like damn near a professional background playing it or getting close to like the AFL and all that. So that's pretty much dope.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about when you started versus now. Like what has been your mental transition in a sense from when you started to now?
The biggest transition for me mentally has been just falling in love with the process, knowing that my time will come, which my time has came in scenarios like same mindset when I come to, or just developing to get in my pro card, developing into transitioning into classic, just being okay with time and letting time be your best friend and utilizing it, you know what I mean? And that has been something that has put me in the just put me in the notion of just being okay with the process, and if I haven't applied time to it and to that factor, this equation of developing myself in this sport, then I'm lost. But having that strategy and having the right coach, having the right people around me, and like I said, using time to my advantage. I mean, my biggest, I guess, goal in a sense, if you want to think mentally, is I love to manipulate time. Like, how can I manipulate as much time as possible, and how can I make myself better in just one day? You know what I mean? And if I'm developing myself in one day, cool, then I'm going to have momentum going into that next day. And the next thing you know, I'm having a good week. If I have a good week, next thing you know, I have a good month. If I have a good month, next thing you know, I'm having
the
a good
domino
couple of
effect.
quarters.
Yes.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And then the next year, the year is good for me. So I'm all about manipulating time as much as possible and putting that in my back pocket and letting that be my best friend, because it can be your worst enemy. And the more that I'm okay with allowing it to be what it is and working with it and align with it, the better I am as an athlete and a coach also too.
Yeah, that's dope. Cause yeah, I'm probably learning that right now. Like I was
Yeah.
always in a rush to just do stuff, man, especially in this sport. I never was like that till I got in this sport.
And
I was
yeah.
always patient and like it was weird, bro. Once I seen my body, like my first show was nothing compared to now, which that's everyone. But once I seen
Yeah.
my body kind of transform, I was like, dang, like I can really get like this. And then you get so
Mm-hmm.
entrenched into, oh, like, dang, he looks like this and she looks like this. And then you start going down that social media rabbit hole, which
Right.
I pulled away from completely now. Like, I don't
Right.
do no comparisons, no nothing. But it became this thing, like it was like a chase of like comparisons. Like, I need to get to where such and such is at. And not even understanding, like, bro, like these people been in this game for damn near a decade or 6+ years or whatever the case is. Like, so the whole concept of time, it it escaped me a little bit because I had no real understanding of it getting into the sport. Like
Right.
prior, I had all the understanding in the world, like, look, just be patient, your time will come. And it took me damn near 4 years to get back to just that phrase alone. Like, so
You ain't the
it's
only one.
kind of crazy.
It's the same for me. So it kicked in at shit. I don't know when I was in the middle of my pro season as men's physique. You know what I mean? Like it definitely hit me when I was competing at national levels, because I was like top 5, top 4, multiple shows at a national level, and I was like, I'm gonna get my card somewhere somehow. But I knew it was coming, so I wasn't really like stressing that factor of time. But when I was a pro at men's physique level, that's when it really hit me. Like, a lot, like you said, a lot of these guys just have had a decade in the sport. Like, they've been competing since they was teenagers, and we don't know that.
Right.
But social media just came in not too long ago, and we see how everybody's just transforming so quickly, and it comes down to like who you're around too, like, what's the circle, like what are you exposed to? Because a lot of times, if you are your own circle or own hub, and you don't get a chance to go out there and see like how these other guys are training, what they're taking, who they're talking to, that all plays a role to speed up the process, and those connections do matter, because, you could be doing something that you're not doing, that somebody else is doing, and that's helping them to progress forward. And also just like accountability, like who's in your circle, like they know what it takes. Like, I had this conversation with this kid that he was over here talking about, like, oh, like, should I still do classic? Because I think everybody's doing classic now, and blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, it's a growing industry, but however, and he was doing bodybuilding on the amateur side too. And I was like, however, like, you gotta understand, like, bodybuilding, men's physique is a division you can get into very quickly. It takes 1 to 3 years to actually be competitive. Classic probably 3 to 5. Obviously, it's all genetic based, and then open bodybuilding, shit, 10 years, bro. Like, legitimately, you gotta put 10 years down on the table
And be okay
time
with that too,
and be
though.
okay with that. Exactly. You know, and don't get me wrong, you still compete here and there in between that time frame. But however, though, it's a different avenue. It's a different sport. It's a different division. You gotta have the right people around you to get you to understand that shit. And social media won't do that for you. You know what I mean? Like you see people just like, oh, like Nick Walker, what is he? When he would like posted, he was like first time competing in 2000, I don't know, 16 or something like that, or
Something like
17 or
that.
some time when he was younger. And then now he's looking insane. But however, though, it's just what he's exposed to, you know, the right people, all that plays a role. You don't know. So you gotta do your homework and let time play its role and get the right people around you, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, bro. And again, my start was based off again, like my mom passing, trying to
Mm,
find something to get into. Like I knew like a couple of my close friends who was in it, but I didn't know like what they was like really doing. So when I stumbled into my coach, she was like, you know what, you should try to, do this. My mom wanted to see me compete anyway. So I was like, all right, I'll
oh,
give it a
really?
try. Yeah,
Yeah,
one
for sure.
show, and then one show snowballed into 11, of course, because I'm here now. So, but no one really like around me to kind of be like, hey, this actually takes time. Like, hey, you're going to be able to do this. Like, yeah, you have your coach, you're going to listen to your coach, but no one, like, my
Right,
wife didn't know nothing about none of this. In fact, she was like, yeah, you're probably only going to do this for like a year. Like, that was
right.
it. So it's kind of crazy that you say that, because I preach that so much. Like, yo, you're the average of the 5 people that surround you. You're in the middle of there somewhere. So you need to make sure you're surrounding yourself with people that's like pouring into your cup as far as the things you want to do. How has your support system been for you since you started and now?
My support system has been pretty good. I have a small circle. You know, I have a lot of acquaintances, and you know, I get respect from a lot of people, and I respect a lot of people. You know, so I don't really try to have the wrong people in my circle because you know I realize that when you have too many people in your ear, you know, what I mean, and telling you look great and look great, or you look this like that, you know, you start to add more to the gas or let off the gas. It's one of those two, you
Uh-huh.
know. So like for me, like my circle is my lady, my coach, my little brother, you know, my cousin, you know, my mom, you know, those people who have watched me develop in this sport. And, you know, and I have some training friends and stuff like that, and some of my clients that's been with me for years. But you know, those are the ones I really value their word and understand like if I'm going too hard or I ain't doing enough, you know. So that's the biggest thing for me, because like I said, if I listen to too many people, like I love advice, I will listen criticism all day, take the judges feedback, take my obviously my coach's feedback, but take
Mhm.
other people that are fan of the sport, and like, oh, like somebody telling me, oh, you're looking great, you're growing in your off season, that's great and all, but I know, and me and my coach know that we're still maybe 5 weeks from that point where we need to be, or 10 weeks, or whatever the case may be. We're just
Mhm.
not there yet, but I'm pushing in the right direction. And so a lot of times when somebody gets that feedback of like, oh, you're doing it, and you get hella likes and all this other stuff, you know, people let off the gas. And then that's why you see a lot of people don't compete anymore. You know, they go into just more of just fitness, which is cool, you know, there's money in that. But however, though, you got to stay locked in, because if you see yourself potentially doing well in the sport, then stay locked in and make that a career, because fitness will always be there, in my opinion. You can
Facts.
do this shit forever. You know what I'm saying? You can be a fitness guru till you die. You know what I mean? So
And
it's just
health,
like
health, health
you,
ain't going nowhere, man. For
exactly.
real.
As long as you keep that locked in, you know, and do
Uh-huh.
everything right, you know, get your blood work, check on everything, you know, make sure you're eating everything you need to, drop the alcohol, whatever. You know, as long as you're locked in throughout the process of competing, then you're good. You're gonna be able to progress and go where you want to be in the sport. However, though, you just gotta listen to the right people. And my circle is huge, bro. I'm huge when it comes to that, because I've seen clients of my circle or my team, you know, have stopped competed because they are upset that they missed out on certain things that their friends are doing. And such as
Man.
maybe like partying or whatever the case may be, going to a trip or
Mhm.
two. And I'm like, these flights ain't changing. You know what I mean? These planes ain't going nowhere. If anything, they gonna get faster. You know what I mean? Like if
Right.
anything, we might be able to travel a little bit quicker. You know, so like you're not really missing out on anything. And the alcohol ain't changing. Like food ain't changing. If anything, it's gonna get better. You know, so you might as well lock in on the time that you have right now, and and compete, and not even compete, just get better. Like just
There
focus
you
on
go.
getting better. Don't focus on what you think you can have to indulge in. That's your vice. Like that shit's always going to be there. So my circle keeps me locked in on what I've been going for, and it has helped me in the long haul.
Man, that accountability, man, for real,
Huge.
that's so important, man. And I'm glad I got people around me that keep me accountable too. And it's funny you mentioned like the vices, man. So me, I was again the act of professionalism, right? So
Hmm.
me turning pro, like, and I finally made it, thinking I did something, which I did. It was a great accomplishment. I fulfilled
That's a
a
huge
promise,
accomplishment.
to
Yeah.
my mom, but that caused me to let my foot off the gas. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna be able to be free and do this and do that. And then before
Right.
you know it, I look up and I'm like, okay, I think I'm gonna try to do my pro debut. And it ended up being like a year later, but that like
Stunning.
4 to 5 months was wasted right after that, just because I was eating whatever, doing whatever. And it was just like, nah, like you gotta really be a professional. Like if you want something bad enough, you gotta hold yourself accountable. Your people around you gotta hold yourself accountable. They all gonna understand that. And them cookies and everything I was eating, they weren't going nowhere, just like you said. Like I had a freezer full of them for nothing. I ended up giving them away. Like
Yeah. I mean, like as a coach, bro, like I'm on both sides of the field. So like, as a coach, I get my clients to understand, like, I get it, as an athlete, I get it. But when it comes down from a coaching standpoint, the athlete can get a day or two, maybe three, of indulging what you want to do, whatever. If the goal is for you to have a great debut or have a great couple of shows within a year, I mean, obviously it determines on how far that show is from, getting a pro card and all that other stuff. But,
mhm.
a lot of coaches are afraid to go ahead and tell that client to, hey, like, just chill. Like, we good. Just go ahead and go right into, locking in and have your day or two, maybe a week, and get back to it. Because, a lot of the clients are so ready to go ahead and just drop everything. You know what I mean? And they think that it's okay because they've gotten their body to that point, or they feel like they got great genetics, that it's going to save them, and it's so crazy. I think there's a level of miscommunication, or just giving examples of just like you, and it's being given more like on social media. People are, talking more about like, oh, is your coach doing reverse diets and all this other shit, which is
Yeah.
great. But
Mhm.
however, though, I don't think there's that sit down talk from coach to client a lot, and just that accountability, just like, yo, like, your body will take a huge step back if you're continuing down this path, and you're going to have to work harder. Like you said, that 4 to 5 months, that's realistic. 4 to 5 months just getting back to pretty much ground zero. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
then from
bro.
that point, now we develop it. So I've seen it, and that's why I say it, because I've seen it for myself. I did it to myself one time, and also I've seen it from clients that I've dealt with that went down that path. It takes time to get back to where you want to be. So as long as you have, like I said, 3 days, maybe five, indulge, do what you want to do, but you got to log back in immediately, because at the end of the day, you're a professional. We're a professional. You know what I mean? What we're trying to do is promote health and fitness at the highest level. If we're trying to promote
Yeah.
that shit at the highest level, how can we be marketable? We just here. You know what I'm saying? Just being
Man.
another fitness person. So like that, we don't draw the line, and that's where I feel like as a coach and client that we have to understand the difference between a high level competitor and somebody that's just into fitness.
Right. And trust me, I took severe steps backwards thinking like, oh, I'll work it off. Oh, that was attitude. I'll
I
get it
did it
off. I'll
too.
get it
I
off.
did it before
Like it
too.
was terrible, bro. Like I'll never do that again. And that's why I'm so thankful for this year off, because
Yeah.
and part social media plays a part in that too, bro. Because I'm responsible for who I follow, and I'm following all these cookie companies and
The
watching
algorithm fucking
whoever,
you up.
like, right, algorithm told me. I hate Instagram now, bro. I could be talking about anything and it just pops up. Like I hate it, bro. But that's what it was. And then you start following people who be having these massive cheat meals on a day in the life or whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm about to get that. So I was pretty much susceptible to anything that was messing up my brain, bro. I was like, yep, I'm gonna go do this. Yep, I'm gonna go do that. Oh, I'll get to my pro debut later. And yeah, that was like the worst thing I could have done. And social media played a part in that too. But again, like I'm responsible for that. So how do
Mm-hmm.
you feel about social media now in bodybuilding? Give me like the pros and the cons of it as far as for yourself and for what you see.
I see social media does expose a lot. Social media does help you to think, you know what I mean, and do research. I mean, it's gotten better to a point of like, all right, you know, what's a good coach, what's a good athlete, what's the
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle we're trying to have. And then you see how other people live and what they're doing, what their off season looks like. So you can tell who's serious or not. You can kind of tell what how that person got to this. It's a storyline. So it
Mm-hmm.
definitely provides a lot of research and a lot of feedback on how people get from point A to point Z. Because we all follow people, we all follow each other and stuff like that, and see each other's journey. And you see somebody succeed and do well, you look back and like, all right, this makes sense why they
Mm-hmm.
have succeeded because they were locked in October, November, December. So it just
Facts.
like
Mm-hmm.
it makes sense for them to get to that point, and those are motivation factors for me or others, I'm sure of. But however, it definitely can provide the wrong information. A lot of people, especially like I shit you not, the thing that I hate the most is when it's a pet peeve for me is when people give the bad rap about competing because they went in that overindulging of food. And like I said, we've all overindulged before. We've all done it. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? We've all went OD with it. But when you talk about how bad competing is to the digestive tract or this and that and the third, because somebody just went on a sugar high, like that doesn't make any sense, bro. You went the wrong route. You obviously completely ate bad when you were eating completely healthy for about 6 months. Obviously, your body's going to have a negative reaction immediately. It's
Yep.
literally you're taking it away from the benefits that it had. So I don't like when people kind of give the bad rap of competing when they ultimately were just on
They
this
did it to
fitness
themselves,
high.
bro. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And they did it to themselves and shot themselves in the foot. So, for me, like social media plays a role, as of understanding where the sport is going, unless also too where the evolution of the sport is like, all right, cool, like this, especially like with bikini, like bikini is on a whole nother level of how that division has been evolving so fast. So like, you see how these girls are looking and how what they're taking. So it just like it puts in perspective of how the next wave of competition or like the Olympia or Arnold athletes will look like. So you kind of
Mm-hmm.
have as an athlete, as a pro or just upcoming amateur, or national qualifier competitor, whatever you want to call it. Like you see what the criteria is, and
Mm-hmm.
that plays a huge role from social media because we didn't. I mean, like when I first got into bodybuilding or just really looked at bodybuilding was all muscle magazines, all muscle and development magazines.
That's
So I would
it. Yep.
see, what I'm saying, like and I'm not really saying, I guess I'm saying my age, but not really. Like I was young, I was a kid when I saw these magazines, and at the same time, just transitioning into social media, you see that real time, real life training and development and eating of these athletes. So it just gives you that opportunity to have that information and just evolve with the sport itself.
That's good, man. Yeah, it could be a sore spot if you
Yeah,
allow it to be. But again, like you're looking at stuff in I say 80 to 90% real time because like I don't care like where I'm at.
100%.
I like posting like my updates just so people can see like the progress and the evolution
Why
of it.
not? Yeah,
And yeah, I mean it's just me being honest about myself and people who want to watch and just giving something, that can be obtainable in a sense. But yeah, like you said, man, the evolution of a lot of these divisions, especially, bikini itself, like some of these girls I was seeing like, damn, they like super muscular, bro.
yeah. Like
Like
it's like how do you develop your glutes to look massive and hamstrings but have no quads? Like it's just the
crazy,
things that they're
bro.
trying to create their physiques to be. Like that's why bikini is the most, in my opinion, the hardest physique to obtain for that level of like winning a pro show or winning the Olympia,
Mhm.
like that level. Obviously, like national amateur level, it's obtainable in my opinion. But you just get in shape, do a shit ton of cardio, have your calories at a certain degree, and train in a high volume with hypertrophy, you're good,
There you
for
go.
6 months. But when it comes to like the Olympia and Arnold and high level or top tier pro shows, like it's a whole different degree of evolution. Like I coach it, and I'm still like always trying to learn from other coaches and what like it's crazy, man. So, and obviously like all these other divisions obviously is evolving too, but it's just you got to understand where the aesthetics are currently, and how to fit yourself within that criteria. And I mean, like, shout out to like Tyler Manuel for like obviously posting
That's
those
dope
like
what he's
criteria
doing,
that they're looking for. So that shit plays a huge role for us to kind of just have an idea rather than we just like shooting in the dark and then show up show day and we wonder how the hell we placed this. Is because we didn't follow the criteria. That's simple.
It's really that simple, bro. And I had a competitor who I had to pretty much tell that because he wanted to stay in prep. And I'm like, bro, you're not gonna get better staying in prep. I mean, I don't know how much more shredded you think you're gonna get being the age of 50 plus. But one, we need to shut it down so you can get your body to restore itself and recover. And then two, like you have to make improvements. The judges gave you the feedback. Them improvements are not coming in prep. I hate to tell you
Right.
that, but it's just not. So he finally understood it, man. So now it's more like, all right, we're gonna have to train to what they're telling you and still meet this criteria. That don't mean we just go off and just eat a ton of nonsense. That don't mean we just ramp the training up here just
Right.
because, like, no, we have to train with precision and then be very strategic in that. So yeah, it's dope that Tyler's doing that, man, because I be paying close attention to the videos, and it's funny, like he sound like a scientist the way he's breaking it down. So
Right. I mean, it helps, and I mean, like you, as you a coach, you're doing a great job by like, putting people in their place in a sense. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but it's just like you gotta check your clients. You gotta let them know, like, hey, like it's okay to take that step back. It's okay to
mhm,
develop. It's okay to grow. It's okay because guess what? Those people that are competing, they're depleting their bodies and getting their bodies ready for for whatever show. But at the end of the day, you are growing and you are in a position to surpass them the more effective you are at training and the more effective you are at eating. Like you can surpass those people that you lost to because they're still competing. So, but however, that's a mental aspect that some people don't have. They don't see that. They feel like they're letting off the gas. Like, nah, bro, you're having this is bodybuilding, not body minimizing. We're having the opportunity to grow. So if you're growing, you're going to be in a better position to win. It's that simple. So, and I mean, you can't look at it as a negative thing to obviously compete, but if you're having an opportunity, because I'm sure like most pros at the high level, they want to take that time off. Most pros that are like winning Olympias and stuff like that, if they had a choice, I'm sure they would take a year and a half off, maybe two.
for real, yeah.
But at the same time, they're trying to keep up with the criteria, trying to keep up with the showcase, trying to develop themselves and their brand. But we as real bodybuilders, doesn't matter what division you are, bikini, open body, whatever, bodybuilders, we all like to eat and train. So if we're all eating and training, we know in our brain and our mind and our muscle and our anatomy that we're growing. So it's just you got to be okay with that. But that goes back to social media. Everybody being shredded and looking amazing, and it's like, oh shit, bro,
Showing the
yeah,
highlights.
I'm saying? Only the highlights. You know what I mean? So
That's
it's hard for people to lock in on the reality of it.
Yeah, for real. So speaking of training to, the criteria, your criteria changed, man. You made a big change. You switched over to classic. What promoted that change?
Uh, I like training legs. Let's be honest with you. I started to find a love for it, and just like even doing like back day and stuff like that. Like I like to do heavy deadlifts. I train.
Mm,
Still have that performance style of training still in me. So I'm doing those strength training style of training, but I'm very hypertrophy oriented and
mhm.
slow tempos and all the timer and attention stuff. But ultimately, my aesthetic too chose that route for me because a lot of these men's physique guys, like I've placed first call outs in a couple of men's physique shows, and I will say I've always lost to guys who have a long ass torso, long torso and, maybe the same height as me, maybe a little bit taller, but torso is just a lot longer, which makes their waistline a lot smaller, which makes their proportions
Right.
a lot crazier. So my proportions are, I would say they're pretty good. I always have known for a great back. My chest is solid at the time. Now I've developed it more, but that I saw that kind of helped me back. And I was always the most conditioned guy on stage. I was always like, conditioning was never an issue for me. But however, just really having the natural genetics, the long clavicles and long torsos, like that's men's physique, in my opinion. So I always carry great muscle belly. And for me, like I know that will help me in classic physique. And then also like I have legs, like I have the right lines that aesthetically look good for classic physique. So I was just like, let me fill them out. Let me learn how to train legs. Let me make that more effective. And ultimately from a physiology standpoint, or just like developing the body without hurting the anatomy, like I like to develop glutes, hamstrings, and obviously quads, but the glutes and hamstrings play a role with understanding how to train back more effectively. So like I was like, all right, shit. Like if I'm using my legs properly now my back days, I don't feel my lower back. You know what I'm saying? I'm effectively, on these bent over rows, I'm using my lats more. So, that really changed my whole degree of training. Like just added in a couple of leg days. My body has grown more, it response more. I can eat more. That's another huge thing for me, because with men's physique, I had to watch my eating. And now like I can just eat my way to the stage, basically, even on these past shows that I did. Like I was just like literally my coach's cuts. So he just pretty much fed me all the way to the stage and did not pull food back. Like we had obviously some food drops, but my metabolism is so high that, I can just really eat my way there. And even in the off season, literally the off season is probably the most toughest for me because of my metabolism. It's so high. So like I have to eat even more. Like I'm plus 4,000 calories in my off season right now. And it's a job, bro. It's literally a job for me.
I would pass out, bro. I'm telling
it's
you.
It's a job, bro. That food bill is nothing to joke around with right now.
I got a few clients that's like that. Like they're in prep now and they're like, dang, I'm surprised I'm still eating this much. And I was like, enjoy it, man, because I don't even eat that much. I'm telling you straight up. Like it's just what it is. Like, and you got to play, to your strengths. And Cuts is a mastermind behind that, man. Tell me a little bit how instrumental he's been for you in this transition.
I mean, Cuts is so I got my pro card with DJ Pure, who coaches Chiron and all of. So he helped me get my pro card in 2017. Shout out to Derek. Derek is legit. He knows his shit. Both him and Ariel Cuts, DJ and Cuts have their own different way of coaching. I like both sides. I like both ways, but I made a transition and no bad blood to DJ. Like he was a great coach. I just made a transition. At first, I worked with DJ. I'll just lay out the storyline. Worked with DJ till I got my pro card. Worked with him on a couple of pro shows. Placed first call outs on those first shows or whatever. And then I decided to coach myself that year after, and I placed first call outs at like the Miami Pro Show and stuff like that. Coached myself. I looked phenomenal. And that was just to test my theories and, work on my business and stuff like that. So it was nothing against him. It was just more of a business decision. And then from that standpoint, I was like, all right, I'm getting feedback that I need to move up. And once I moved up to classic, that's when I was like, all right, I've seen Cuts work with some classic guys or try to dabble into that. So I wanted to be one of his, his kind of guinea pigs in a sense, but also first couple of classic guys that he's bringing up. And he's done a great job with like Tony Dung and a couple of these other guys that he's worked with on the classic scene. And so that really made me want to work with him on that aspect. He's really in depth with food, which was the biggest thing for me. I feel like I understand, the cycle aspect and the science behind it. I have a nurse practitioner that I work with and making sure all my health is good. But
nice.
His biggest mindset is towards understanding food and getting the right amount of food in, food, sleep, water. So those were my issues when it came to when I took a step back and and overview my prep and just review what were the missing pieces, what were the issues that I'm not getting enough of. And it was just really just playing with my food and getting enough. And like I said, going from 196 to 212 and still probably, I haven't measured my body fat percentage, but I'm still seeing lines and I feel
Mm,
leanish, you know what I'm saying, in my off season. So, that is saying a lot about the amount of food and the cleanness of the food that he provides and his mindset there. And he's blunt. I'm a blunt coach also too. You tell me I look great, cool. And tell me what I need to do, cool. If you tell me I look like trash, cool. Like that's feedback I need to know. I don't need to be beating around the bush because like you said, like I said before, I'm very huge on time. So the more that I can be direct with my assignment rather than just trying to waste time, then the better I am to go ahead and reach my goal. So, but he's a great coach. He knows his shit. He's a busy guy. I will say that he's very busy,
yeah.
but that's most high level coaches anyway. So,
Mm,
I shout out to him for giving me my pro debut or getting me seen in that degree as my pro debut and giving me a good opportunity to just build off of that. So that I'm really excited for, and just to see what our cutting phase and prep phase is going to look like this second time around.
that's dope, man. I have a great feeling about your next season, man, for real.
I
Especially,
appreciate that, bro.
you seem to really have this concept of pretty much having it together. I don't say that phrase lightly because a lot of people don't have it together. They're just pretty much just blowing with the wind. And
Yeah,
I could say that because that was me. So like you pretty much seem to have pretty much a well gathered concept as far as what you want, what you need to do, and just move forward, man. So shout out to
I
you.
will. I appreciate that. I will say this: the only reason I'm like that is because, bro, we invest so much money into this lifestyle. So it's like if I'm putting all this money into,
Bruh,
I'm just like I'm a numbers guy, bro. I'm not like mathematic and all that, but I'm just calculated as fuck. So
you
it's
know
just
what's
like,
going in and you know what's coming in and
you know
coming
what I'm
out.
saying?
I know that.
I'm a hustler, bro. I'm a hustler. So it's like
Yeah, for
I
real,
got it. If I'm gonna take a risk, where's the reward? You know what I mean? So it's like if it doesn't
for real.
make sense and it doesn't make money, it doesn't progress me. What am I doing this for? So why am I wasting money? Why am I? I'm not going for likes. I'm not going for all this other stuff. I'm trying to win and I'm trying to develop my brand. And obviously, I know that'll benefit a lot of other stuff. But like I said, that fitness lifestyle, that's there. Like I can do push-ups and sit-ups all day and get likes for that and make somebody
Yeah,
be motivated. But you know, obtaining something that's hard to attain, and putting money down for that, I have to apply myself. So
I hear you.
that's where it
Some
goes
got
for
to
me.
come in for that, and that's the reason why I end up linking up with sponsorships for next year because them hotels and them flights
There
and
you
everything.
go.
I'm good.
There you go,
I'm
bro.
good. And I said it like, look, if I don't have something that's gonna supplement for all this money that's coming out, I will take another year off. I promise
Bro,
you.
these businesses making money off of us. Why can't we figure out ways to make money off of them? Why can't we figure out ways to benefit ourselves? I mean, like these athletes in NFL, NFLPA, all that they figuring out ways to benefit themselves as athletes so they can keep money in their pockets.
Facts.
This sport is growing. At the end of the day, this sport is moving faster than it's ever moved before, in my opinion. Of 9 years of competing and seeing this shit move, we gotta like I wouldn't be surprised if there's gonna be agencies. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna be surprised if there's
It's
gonna be,
coming, bro.
you know what I mean? Like
It's
people
coming.
are managing these athletes, not just coaching, like coaches managing. I'm talking about like brand deals,
Nah,
all that shit.
there's
So
management out there, bro.
of
I've
course
had
I've seen it
one
too.
reach out to me on accident, low key, and I was
Yeah,
like, wait, what? And then I was like, wait, you actually manage athletes? I was like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. But all right.
bro. These athletes making $3,000 a month off of just supplement deals, off of apparel. Like, come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that's salary. That's good lucrative money you making in your sleep. So and it could be done. And like cheers to those athletes. I've had deals too. Like those things can come about when you put in the work and you expose yourself the right way and create this marketability. And if you're investing your money into yourself, into your brand, or into your coaching, or your food, whatever is going to help you, your
Mhm.
supplements that's going to help you to develop, you might as well make sure that you're getting paid for it, because that is, I mean, like, bro, look at C-Bum, bro. Like, come on now. Like, let's look at all, like, like, bro, if we look at his reels, like, he's getting 1 million views a reel. You try to put that, put that on the what do you call it, Facebook ads or all that, like, put it on your YouTube and monetization, and seeing how much money he can get back off of those 1 million views. You know, like, that's one piece of the pie that he's making money from bodybuilding. Not his brand, not his coaching, not him winning a show. That's a piece of the pie. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like podcasts, you know, all this stuff. This is obviously all monetized, and you can do it, and an athlete can do it, but it's just like, gotta mentally put themselves there and understand how to do it
and do the work. That's
exactly.
it, man. So I hit you with 3 quick hitters before I get you out of here, man.
Yes, sir.
From a mental aspect, what is something you would tell, you know, athletes that are trying to come up and, you know, make their way in the sport? What's some advice you can give them on the mental side?
The mental side, I would say, is have fun with the process, enjoy the process, you know, have the right guys or girls around you that, you know, are having fun with you. And, you know, be okay with your starting point, you know, be okay with that, because that's the motivation. That's what's going to keep pushing you. And know that you're going to change. You're going to change right in front of your eyes. We all have body dysmorphia. You're probably going to have it, but it's okay, you know, but let yourself grow through that and be okay with being great, you know, and be okay with being good at something, and never let off the gas, because eventually your body's going to just turn on and push forward, and you're going to start seeing results. So stay locked in other words.
There you go. So the second one, this doesn't have to be a show you probably do next year or even the year after, but which show you have circled that says, look, this is a show I definitely need to do and I definitely want to win? Which show is that for you?
I mean, honestly, bro, I need to go do a show in Asia or somewhere, bro. I need to do an Asia show, like, that ass. Like, that's something that I'm like, I was thinking about that the past 2 weeks. I was like, bro, that is helping everybody social media who's competing over there as an American or any other country. But
you know,
they love bodybuilding.
They
love bodybuilding over there. They love it, and I appreciate that.
Oh my God, Antoine Weatherspoon told me that, because when I asked him that question, he was like, "Bro, you better get up out of the States and go to these countries."
Bro,
and I was like, "Wait, what?" And he was like, "Bro, they love it over there. Like, if you really want to grow your brand, you bounce." And I was like, "Huh." I was like, all right.
It's subjectional here, bro. It's so subjectional. So it's just like, well, over there, like, we're like one life wonders, bro. Like, we're a unicorn. So it's just like go over there and compete. It don't even matter what you place. Just look good. Just look crazy. Obviously, if you win, it's going to benefit you. But you look good, you look crazy, and win. Like, yeah, bro, that puts you on. So that's something that I'm contemplating on, and just figuring out the numbers and all that other stuff, you know. So yeah, that's something I really want to do.
All right, you know, gave me some homework for real though. And then, man, last but not least, man, again, enjoyed the convo with you. I definitely want to continue this dialogue as far as having these type of discussions, man. Is there a specific person who you feel like you can refer to this podcast that can kind of enhance the dialogue a little bit?
Yeah, I could probably refer my lady. She has her own podcast too. So and she's a bikini competitor. So and trying to compete for her pro card here at the NPC Nationals in Dallas in December. So
for sure.
Yeah. So she's in the trenches of the prep right now, but I definitely will refer her. Her IG is Liz the Shiz, and you know, she's one of my clients. I coach her on the training side, and she deals with the nutrition side of it with Body Bio. So she used to be my full client, and then we decided to kind of split things, because, you know, when you're a girlfriend and boyfriend, you know,
more power.
Hey man, I'm telling you, you try to tell her to do one thing, and she's like, "Oh, like, you're my boyfriend." So it's like,
man,
So,
More power to you.
so it gets challenges. And to those coaches that want to coach your girlfriend, all right, beware, be ready, beware.
Yeah,
You know,
better listen.
it's gonna be something real.
All right, bet, man. Yeah, I'll reach out. I'll hit you up on the gram and then see like if she's up for it or not.
sure.
Either before or after. Either I know how people are when they in prep, so I try
True
to
statement.
stay out of that. So, but man, my guy Adam, man, dope convo,
sir.
real convo, man. I appreciate you, bro.
Facts, bro. I appreciate you having me on. Definitely a great conversation. And yeah, man, like you said, we'll do this again. I'm down for sure.
Absolutely, man. We'll see y'all on the next one. Peace. Yes, sir.